And welcome to Tuesday Talks. It's Tuesday, at least at the time of this recording. We are live right now and just started a minute or two late. So if you're just now joining us or if you're waiting, apologize for that. But we are on right now live. So you know the routine. If you're just joining with us right now for the first time, what I like to do is always have everybody actually just kind of let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio. Give me some kind of feedback so that I know that you're here with me live listening. I've got a great show today. I think that we're going to have some fun. We're going to answer some questions that have come in. We're going to address a couple of upcoming events. We're going to, if you ask your questions, we're going to answer those questions live. I like to ask questions or answer questions that you all have. I know there's a lot of people that are new to real estate investing, and sometimes you have questions that don't necessarily, you don't always have access to a quick answer for. So if something is said that triggers a question, or if you had a question that you've been wondering about, then please, this is your opportunity to jump on, let us know, and please make your comments in the chat. Obviously, if you're driving right now and listening, then keep both hands on the wheel. But if you can do talk to text, then drop it in there and we'll get back to you. So today, it's been a crazy day for me. I know that most of you probably could say the same. It seems like Tuesdays are almost like the new Mondays for me, at least. It's like we're full on, full swimming into the deep waters on Tuesdays, at least in my world, the work that I'm doing. And I'd love to hear from you. If you've got some specific projects you're working on, then please let us know. And if you're joining us right now, I think that you understand. I always ask you to give me some kind of a thumbs up, give me some kind of indication that you can hear me, because the fact of the matter is I am not super tech savvy. So every single time I do this, I'm like, we're live right now. Can anybody hear me? So it helps me a lot, guys. Mentally, it just helps me clear it out of my mind. If if you post something like, hey, I can hear you, or audio's good, or whatever, just give me a thumbs up, because it does help a lot. So today's Tuesday Talks, a couple of questions came in about the September, I'm calling it a mini mentorship, micro mentorship that I'm doing in September. I'm going to address those questions in a few minutes. But before we get to that, I have a couple of things. Did anybody see this this post about, someone made a post? I can't remember where I saw it. It was it was late last week, or it might be, I don't think it was yesterday, but it was late last week, a post about, a competitor type of lending source from the U.S. Treasury that's going to somehow or another compete with the Federal Reserve. Did anybody else see this? I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but what I was thinking, that's potentially, that's one of two things. I don't know if you guys know much about the Federal Reserve. You probably should know a little bit, because if you're in the real estate business, a lot of what we do revolves around the interest rates. And of course, interest rates are set and determined by the Federal Reserve Bank. And as many have pointed out, maybe you already know this, but there's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. It's not a government. The Federal Reserve Bank is not, FDIC insured. You see that. The Federal Reserve Bank is not an entity or an arm of the United States government. It's actually a private bank. So you talk about private equity. This is like the ultimate private equity. It's old money from Europe, and is where it was, is kind of how it got started. And the Federal Reserve Bank really affects a lot of our economic well-being, because they determine the interest rates for money that is lent out. So we think of money, interest rates, we think about, how does that affect, new construction homes? How does that affect home sales and home purchases? How does that affect, the kind of deals that you can take over subject to or assume a loan? There's a lot of things that factor into the real estate space that are directly connected to the Federal Reserve Bank. So when I saw a post, and I was almost wondering if it was like a spoof, there's so much stuff nowadays that's created by artificial intelligence. And I thought, there's no way. I mean, it seemed crazy to me to even think about the fact that the Federal Reserve Bank might actually have some competition from the United States government. So I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I might have been dreaming. Somebody Google it. Drop a link in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. That was a kind of an interesting thing to me for a number of reasons. The Federal Reserve Bank, let's just say this: they're a very, very powerful group of individuals. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I tell people all the time, I'm a conspiracy factist. I believe there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff that goes on, that even crazier stuff than we think about. So I always wonder, like, okay, if you try to go up against the Federal Reserve Bank, that's usually that's a really good way to kind of get JFK'd. And it would be interesting to see if it truly actually is a competitor lender for the Federal Reserve, as far as like an entity that's able to create money. Because think about the Federal Reserve Bank, and there's a lot of old money that originally started with it, but when they went off, the United States government went off of the gold standard many, many years ago, it really kind of, I don't want to say delegitimized the value of the United States dollar, but it definitely devalued the United States dollar in the sense that it's no longer backed by a gold standard. And so in effect, the $100 bill will only go so far as there is what would be a perceived social acceptance of the value of the $100 bill, right? So in other words, if I came to you with my brother David, I've talked to some of you about this before, but my brother David, he's done missions work in Malawi, Africa for 17 years now. He's got kids that were born over there. He has a house and property over there that they're fully invested into that area, and they do a lot of Christian missionary work there. They're humanitarian stuff. They've got Malawian nationals that they work with, and have really, really developed really long-standing relationships with them. But if they brought to me a stack of kwacha, okay, that's the bill, the currency that the Malawian government has chosen to trade in. If my brother came back from Malawi and said, "Hey, John, here's a gift for you. It's a stack of 100 kwacha." So like a kwacha representing one, like a $1. So if he gave me a stack of 100 kwacha, and I was like, "Well, that's nice," and he said, "No, you don't understand. Like, this is actually not 100 kwacha. It's actually, there's a million that represents, those bills there represent 1,000,000 kwacha." Okay, so for me, there would be very, very little value in that. Why? Because I can't spend it here in America, right? And in actuality, the kwacha to dollar bill ratio exchange is so minimal. I think Malawi is like the second or third poorest country in the world. So if my brother brought me these kwacha from Malawi, if he gave me a bill with a picture of the president or one of the revolutionaries or military generals or whatever it is, like if he gave that to me, there would really be no value to me in the sense that I don't necessarily think that I can do anything with the kwacha, right? With the currency from the government of Malawi, it really doesn't mean anything to me, right? So in the United States and around the world for many, many years, and by the way, if you study all this stuff, it's very interesting. The United States worked out a deal with the Saudi Kingdom back in the 70s to basically hinge the price of oil. It's actually, I think it was before the 70s, much before that, but we connected the value of our $100 bill, so to speak, to the value of oil. So it's called the petrodollar system. You can actually look that up. It's very interesting. And, essentially, the Saudi government has a lot of oil refineries. You have BP, British Petroleum. We have a lot of big, huge companies that have gone over there and developed the refineries that made it possible to extract that oil out of the ground. Everything in the world operates on a fossil fuel. And people say, "Oh, fossil fuel, it's not fossils," whatever. I'm just saying, our cars need it. Our clothing is made with it. Plastics, everything is made with petroleum products. And so you take that petroleum, everybody's buying it from the Saudi government, and the United States worked out a deal that said, hey, we will provide military protection for you. And, more than likely it's kind of through a proxy relationship with the nation of Israel. But will provide protection for your country and for your kingdom so long as you don't sell your petroleum products to anyone unless the buyer has to use United States USD. And so what we did is we kind of locked in the value, or at least the perceived value, of the $100 bill nationwide, worldwide. We locked that value in because if people had to use the $100 bill in order to purchase petroleum products from the Saudis. And so that's worked really, really well for us. Now, I'm not getting into the politics of it. I'm not getting into the morals of it all, at least not today. But I am just saying there's a reason why the $100 bill has been so strong, and that's one of the main reasons, is because there's military power backing it up, and because it's directly connected to petroleum and the places in the world that produce that. You guys have seen the videos or pictures of Prince Mohammed, and the Saudi kings and princes. I mean, just incredible wealth, and they have that protected. They have that because everybody in the world is buying their products, right? You basically have a corner on the market, so to speak. So to think about a disruption in that system, or an alternative happening in that area, it's almost impossible to really imagine it happening unless it's being allowed to happen, unless it's being set up. And that's why I kind of wonder if we're not, with this announcement, new system that allows for a new lending source or a new financing source, that really probably couldn't be possible unless the powers that be, so to speak, were agreeing that this system that we have currently beginning to lose its luster, and we need to get the whole entire world on a digital currency system anyway. So let's allow a competitor to come up, and I kind of just look at all that and go, there's a lot of interesting things going on right now. So what does that have to do with anything? Well, it's interesting. It would be interesting to think about, a Trump rolling out some kind of a new lending resource for housing and for the markets that is connected to this new currency system, this new treasury system, this new financial system. That's not, it's like, it's a competition with the old system, the old Federal Reserve. This is U.S. owned and U.S. controlled. It'd be interesting if that happened, and he was able to actually bypass the interest rates that are set and determined by the Federal Reserve, and set, in essence, interest rates that were determined by this new system. And then suddenly the economy comes back and everybody's able to borrow again. Boy, everybody would run to that, right? Everybody would shift to why? Because you're able to borrow money at a lower rate. And think about this: if you're out there doing flips, if you're borrowing money to flip a house, and you can borrow it from, a hard money lender for 12% interest, or you can borrow it from a family friend, an uncle, an aunt, a grandma, grandpa, and you can borrow it for 5% interest. That drastically affects your costs of the process, right? So it's certainly not hard to imagine the entire system shifting to a new funding resource if that funding resource was offering rates that were more favorable for business and for borrowers. And of course, that would infuse a massive amount of capital into the market. Businesses would explode. The economy would come roaring back. People would start buying houses again. There would definitely be some effects if that were to happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just sharing with you kind of where my mind goes whenever I hear big news or an announcement like, hey, there might be a competitor bank or a competitor lending resource than competing with the Federal Reserve Bank. That's a huge thing. So I don't know if you caught that or not. Don't know if that's interesting to you or not. but it definitely, whether you're interested in it or not, whether you care or not, I'm not here to make you care. I'm just saying whether you care, whether you're interested, something like that would have a huge, huge impact on the real estate space. And that's the business that we're in. That's what we talk about here on Tuesdays. We talk about live. So again, I'm not seeing any questions come in. I don't know if you guys are asking questions. It's just not getting to me. Normally I have at least a couple of questions or comments by now. So I'm hoping that I haven't just been talking and you guys can't even hear me. Somebody please give me some kind of a comment so that I can say, John, we can hear you. Please stop talking about the Federal Reserve and conspiracy and move on to other things that pertain to us. Okay. Oh, there's Peggy. Perfect. Peggy, you just saved the day. Peggy says, can you see me? I can't see you, Peggy, but I see your comment here now. And thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. I appreciate that. All right. Cool. Okay, good. So let's talk about, Peggy says she can hear me. Yeah, thank you, Peggy. I really appreciate you doing that. That's my old friend, Peggy. Peggy is friends with everybody. You guys probably all know Peggy. If you don't know Peggy, then you ought to know Peggy. So we talked last week about the Asset Fusion Forum that's coming up here really soon, September 5th, 6th, and 7th in Vancouver, Washington. That's not Vancouver, BC. It's Vancouver, Washington, Vancouver waterfront. That's going to be a great event. Pace Morby coming to town, Jamil Damji coming to speak, a lot of others, local developers, local builders speaking on stage. Let's see who Ray Campbell is going to be coming. There's just going to be a lot of really great people there. And of course, this is all part of the Asset Fusion Forum. And we saw last week, we actually had some of the team from that group come on, and we're going to be having Devon Alexander. He's going to be speaking at next week. So not this coming Thursday. Right now it's Tuesday. So we got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a week from this Thursday. We're going to be having Devon Alexander speak and come at the PDX REI group meetup. That's in Portland, Oregon. I hope that you guys are able to come. If you haven't already put it on your schedule, then please just block off. I'm going to look at the date real quick. Yeah, it is Thursday, August 21st. Thursday evening, August 21st at 6 p.m. It's a free event. You do have to register. I'm going to post the link in the comments. But that is a great event, and someone there is going to be winning a VIP access ticket to all 3 days of the event. Again, it include backstage passes to meet the speakers and a bunch of really cool stuff. So if you guys are able to come on Thursday, August 21st, there's a chance that you can win a VIP access ticket to the Asset Fusion Forum. And Peggy says, it's me. So she's already claiming it. She says she's going to know. Okay, now here's the thing, Peggy, and anybody else is watching. The winner will be selected from the person who is, or the group of people, the individuals who are talking the most about this. So to answer a couple questions, no, this is not my event. I'm not sponsoring this. I'm not putting this on. This is not my event. But the Asset Fusion Forum group, these guys and gals are doing a great job over there in Vancouver, and we're going to we want to bring a lot of attention to them. We're all in the same space. We're all working together, collaborating with a lot of different people locally, and of course they're working nationwide. And they're actually, Jordan Wittenberg from their team just got back from, or I think he's still in Switzerland. So guys, be talking about this event. If you haven't seen it already, go to assetfusionforum.com. I believe you can find all the details about the event on there. Just if somebody has a copy of that link from last week, you can drop it into the comments here now, because there's a huge discount for any listeners to the Tuesday Talks. Anybody from the PDX REI group, you guys feel free to share that link. For the general admission tickets, they're normally $500 a piece, and you guys can get in for $150. Monica, she was on last week, and she actually won a free general admission ticket, so that was really cool. I see Andy's on here today. He says he can hear us, see us, and okay, cool, very good. All right, so Asset Fusion Forum, covered that. PDX REI group, that's next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after that, August 21st. guys, I want you to come out to that Thursday night meetup because we're going to have a bunch of really cool stuff going on, and I want to make sure that you guys are up to speed, because I know how easy it is to try to kind of just get down. You get your head down, you're focusing on your business, you're focusing on just day-to-day life, and it can be very, very easy to kind of lose momentum in the real estate investing space. Somebody give me a hands up, give me a thumbs up if you guys know what it's like to feel like, man, I wanted to do this. I feel like real estate is something I'm interested in, but I just don't feel like I have the steam and the momentum that I used to have. I used to be excited about it. I used to be pumped. I just don't feel like that right now. Anybody else feel like that? Every once in a while, you just kind of get feeling like that, right? And so the reason why we do these events, the reason why we have these meetups, the reason why I do these Tuesday talks is to keep you guys in the loop, to kind of keep you on the front line. Remember, action takers are money makers. You have to actually be doing things on a regular basis, consistently, if you expect to ever actually make any money in this business. Now, you can do a lot of work and still not make much money, okay? I admit that. There's a lot of wheel spinning that goes on out there. But you guys can actually learn more about, yeah, Peggy says, I feel like that. That's absolutely true. Peggy, thanks for being honest. That's the way it goes sometimes. And if you guys are feeling that way, then what generally tends to help is, jumping into these calls, getting a little bit of information, learning, picking up a little nugget here. We have these meetups once a month. That's my group. We meet up every single month. There's other meetups in the area. Of course, none of them are as good as ours, but I'm also a little biased. So, but the point is, these meetups, these events, you never know when this is going to be the thing that literally changes the entire trajectory of your business and even your life. And I know personally that I've been in some of these events and it's like, oh, why am I doing this again? It's like, I'm too busy. I've got too much going on. I don't have the money for this right now. And going to these events has been, meeting that one person, having that one connection, finding out about that one deal has been the thing that has either gotten me over the hump or kept me going, or sometimes taken me in a completely different direction, but a good direction. And so I want to encourage you guys to be talking about these events, be attending these events, find a way to get there, find a way to get in, be consistent. Be consistent in the meetups, be consistent on here. I know several of you are on here every single week. I appreciate you. Andy found the link here. He's posted it here. You guys take a screenshot of that. I don't think that comes through as a link on your end, but you guys can definitely take a screenshot of that. I'll leave it up there for a minute. Plan on getting out to these events is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's consistency. It's showing up. It's the people that show up. It's the people that are consistent. They're the ones who are usually in the right place at the right time. So I wanted to kind of just answer a couple questions. Okay. So by the way, before I switch into a different gear, different direction, does that make sense? You guys give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me some kind of indication that this is making sense. Like, show up and keep being consistent, keep coming out. Those are the things that makes a difference. You see the people that go the farthest are the ones that keep showing up, right? Listen, you can't lose if you just keep showing up. And what I mean by that is, it's just the fact that, by the law of averages, the person who keeps showing up, the person who keeps being consistent, they're the ones who end up finding the deal, or they're just in the room at the right time, right? Monica is absolutely correct. God will use these open doors. That's right. So these are open doors for you guys. You can jump into these meetups, you can jump into these calls, you can jump onto these events, and it's amazing how so many opportunities come from being a part of these types of things, right? Sherry's giving me a heart there. She's giving me some love. Appreciate you, Sherry. Okay, so Monica actually has this here. She's got a huge discount. You guys can take a picture of that, screenshot that, get a hold of Monica. She can send you over the link there. Monica, thank you for doing that. Okay, so I'll put that back up there in a minute. I wanted to answer some questions about the micro mentorship that I'm going to be doing in September. So this is coming up here in just a couple of weeks. And why, somebody said, John, why do you do these things? Why do you throw this out there like this, kind of short notice sometimes? It doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of structure there. Here's what I've learned. A lot of times, when I have an idea, and I'm an ideas guy, I admit, I have ideas all the time. I'm not saying they're always good ideas. I'm just saying I do have them. So whenever I have ideas, a lot of times what will happen is, if it's a good enough idea that I think, okay, this is worth doing and worth doing right, a lot of times my idea will end up kind of fizzling out, or it'll never go anywhere when I try to get everything perfect. Okay. When I try to have everything structured just so, and I try to have all of my, boxes checked, and I try to do everything. And I'm not saying don't be prepared. I'm not trying to, excuse my, my lack of organization or all those things. But what I've noticed is when I try to do something, quote unquote, the right way all the time, like having everything in order before we, do the thing or make the announcement, a lot of times those ideas never make it to the light of day, right? They end up kind of bouncing around in my head for a few minutes until the next idea comes and bumps them out. Okay. So what I have also learned by observation, by experience, is that when I have an idea and I just speak it out there and I tell you guys about it, or I just decide to kind of just start on it, what ends up happening more often than not is there is a certain sequence of events that kind of start happening, and that sequence of events eventually leads to the idea at least getting some kind of traction, momentum, and becoming, emerging from the realms of ideas to actuality, like, realization. And so I just was, talking about this Tuesday talks. I think it's been like 3 or 4 weeks ago doing Tuesday talks. And I talked about my first deal that I did on purpose. Now it might've been last week too. I can't remember, but whenever it is that I did that, no, we did the Asset Fusion last week. So when I said this, I said, hey, I got this, I want to talk about this first deal that I did on purpose. And when I did that, what ended up happening was I got a lot of feedback from several people that were saying, hey, that was really cool. And if you guys remember, it was a particular lead that I got. It was a land deal. I know Andy remembers it because he remembered it from the time I mentioned it way, way back when. So it was a land deal that I got from a particular list that is available with every county. And this list is full of leads that have potential for huge value. And I told you guys on that Tuesday talks that I think I sold this lead. I picked it up for 500. I had about, I think a little about over 14 or 1500 all in. And then I sold it for 35,000. Well, I was wrong. I went back and actually looked up the county records for the closing documents and the recorded documents for the sale. I sold it for $40,000. Okay, so when I started looking into this to tell some people, because some people are like, I don't believe that, or whatever. When I started telling people about it and actually showing them what I did, it was like, no, this is really valuable information. So you guys probably know this. I already have another group that I've been mentoring. We've been actually going through a whole different type of lead sourcing, and we've been doing that for about 6-7 months now. And most of the folks in that group, the price point to get in that group was $20,000 a piece. I'm just saying. Now you could say that's ridiculous. I would never pay that. Well, obviously you didn't. If you're watching this right now and you would think that, you would, you didn't pay that. And then also, some people, they just would never ever pay anything that they don't see value in. So I get that. But the reason I bring that up is because I'm saying there are people that are having me coach them through things, and they're learning things that they would not have learned probably in any other way. We've got people that are going on from that group, and they're doing some really cool stuff in development. We've talked about this idea of senior co-living and things like that. So we're working on a bunch of really cool stuff in that group. But the point is, in that group, I've already mentioned this a couple of times. I've already talked about it to a couple of folks, and they've been, I went over it with them. They were like, wow, this is amazing information. This is so cool. This is something I can do. And so when I thought about, okay, well, these people have expressed interest in this, but I can't go start another whole year's worth of mentoring around this, so what can I do? Like, if I have people that are interested, if I know that I made money on this, I cleared $31,609 cash in hand profit, plus recouped my original investment. So that was my profit. $31,609 is what I made in profit on the first deal that I did like this. Okay. So because it was such a good deal, and because it was so easy, and I mean easy, guys, look at, there's no renters, no rats, no remodeling. Okay. This is an easy type of transaction. And I am not saying, disclaimer, okay, disclaimer, I'm not saying that every deal is going to net that much money. But what I am saying is that there are deals like that out there. And when I was taking someone from this other group, this paid mentorship group, when I was just taking them through last Wednesday, a week ago last Wednesday, I was taking them through the steps that I took. I was watching, I had him sharing my screen, and he was following along, and he goes, wow, this is really cool. I was showing him stuff, and while we were just kind of demonstrating, and I just said, like, take this one right here, and I picked a property, and I started taking them through the process. Well, on that call, we found a deal that has, like, I'm not even exaggerating, it has like $100,000 profit potential. Now, we discovered that in less than 15 minutes by going through this I was taking him through this step by step, because he's already paid in my other group, and I just wanted to give him some extra value in addition to what he'd already paid for. I wanted to show him something else. And he was blown away. He was like, this is amazing. I can totally do this. And by the way, this is a guy who's not like super type A. He's not really aggressive. He's actually not a U.S. born citizen. So he has, a heavy accent. He doesn't really super feel comfortable about talking on the phone to people and kind of feeling salesy. So what ended up happening is he was seeing the value on this, and he was like, this is amazing. And so, you know what I did? I said, I'm just going to go out there and just test the waters and see if anybody would be interested in this. So I made a post. Some of you saw it. I said, hey, if you guys are interested in this, learning this type of thing, let me know. And I had several people reach out. So what I did was I made a little video, and what I'll do is I'll drop the link here on today's call. I'll drop it in there. I made a little video kind of explaining the process that we're going to be going through. And again, I was thinking, I can't go commit to another year of mentoring with a different group of people. I just can't do that. But I thought, what can I do? So again, it's kind of spontaneous, like Monica said. She mentioned that a few minutes ago. Yep, spontaneous is exactly right. So what I did was I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit right now so that I have a hard, line that I just commit to. That way I can't back out. I can't say, no, we're going to do this maybe down the road. I'm going to say, we're going to start in September. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 4 weeks in September. So this is, we're probably going to do it on Fridays. So every Friday, not for sure yet, but probably every Friday beginning the first week of September, I'm going to share my screen in a Zoom call, and I'm going to have anybody that's in that group, that I'm calling a micro mentorship, okay? I'm going to have everybody that's in the group have their laptop open and literally follow along, and we're going to do this together. Now, the only way I can do it together with everyone and make sure they get the attention they need is we're going to keep this really small. That's what I'm calling a micro mentorship. It's a very small group of people. And I want to have everybody not just learn a new tactic, okay? We're going to have everybody do the thing, and we're going to do it together. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you guys how to find this particular niche, and there is a way to do it that is, I don't want to say it's genius, but it's definitely, when you see how simple it is, and and I have templates and everything. Everybody that's in the group is going to get an email template. I'm going to tell you exactly who to talk to. I'm going to tell you exactly who to reach out to, and the wording to say. I'm just going to give you a little bit of copy and paste. Here, take this copy from this email and say this, okay? So, but when we do that, what you're going to see is that and the guy I told you about that was in my other group, that did this last Wednesday when we were on our one-on-one coaching call with him. He's already paid for a whole different thing, and I just, like I said, threw this in as a bonus. He literally got 3 lists back in less than 1 week. So he has these lists that were given to him because he requested it from the right person and he used the right verbiage to make the request. And there is a difference between just making the request and making it with the right verbiage, because there's certain personnel in certain that kind of control this information, that if they get the sense that you have, if they don't get the right sense of what your motives are, they will ban you and block you, and you won't get your information. But I'm going to be taking people through in the course of 4 weeks. I'm going to be taking everybody that's on the calls through who to contact. First of all, what these lists look like, where these leads come from, who to contact specifically. And by the way, even if you have like a list, there's particular ones of that list that you don't want to deal with, because you can waste a ton of time looking at stuff that is completely irrelevant. It's never going to turn into a profitable deal for you. And I'll tell you why in this training. So I'm going to show you what these leads are, how to find them, who has them, how to reach out to them specifically. We're going to do it together in 4 week after week sessions that we're going to do in the month of September. Okay, now I'm calling it a micro mentorship because at the end of September, it's over. Okay, the experience is over. Now you'll get access to the recordings, of course, and you'll have copies of all the templates. You'll have copies of the contracts. You'll have copies of the scripts that I use to contact the lead list. You'll have contact scripts for how to reach out to the seller, how to find the seller, how to find the right buyers. And on the deal that I mentioned, I went to 3 particular people, and none of them were the right fit for my property. But that last one that I made the $31,609 profit on, that last one was the perfect ideal buyer. So I'm going to be showing you guys who those ideal buyers are, why it's a good fit for them. And I'm going to be doing that in the month of September for 4 back-to-back weeks. And it's a micro mentorship. I'm going to be giving you guys not just the tools to do the thing, but we're going to do it together. Now, I know a lot of people have expressed interest in this. If you are interested, if you are one of those people that's already reached out to me, then check your DMs, because I already sent you a link. But if you are interested in learning more about this, then you need to let me know, because I am limiting the space. I already had 3 people reach out to me and say they want to sign up. That was just since I posted this last night. Okay, so we got 3 people in. I'm going to keep this group very, very small. And there is a cost associated. You say, what's the cost? Well, it depends on when you pay. Because if you pay before the end of the week, it's a certain cost. If you pay after this end of this week, it goes up. And then at the end of that week, it goes up again. So I'm cutting it off at August 31st because we're starting in September. And there is a small fee, but I can tell you this, it is absolutely a fraction. It's a fraction of what you can make in this particular niche. If you did nothing else in real estate, if you never learned anything else, if all you did was just focus on this one little niche and just do the things that I'm going to show you in the month of September, I guarantee you're going to make money. I guarantee you. And you say you're not supposed to guarantee. Yeah, but it's impossible not to make money if you do what I'm going to show you guys in September. So that being said, that's I'm just throwing that out there because a lot of people have actually asked me, hey, what's this all look like? I don't want to go into all that right now. I made a specific video explaining it. I think it's like 10, 12 minutes long, but you have to watch the video and then you still have to reach back out to me personally and say, hey, I'm in. This makes sense. I want to do this. So Peggy, I see you there. I will send you that link. Peggy, I'm just going to say this right now, though. This is not something that I'm doing for free. So I know that there's a lot of stuff that I do for free. And I know you're not asking me. I'm just telling you because there's a lot of work that's going to go into this, and you have to be able to show up every single time we do the call because we're going to be doing the work on the call. So let's make sure we talk about your schedule and stuff and make sure that works for you. But I'm excited about it. Honestly, I guess I'm excited for a couple of reasons because, for one, it works, and I know it works because I've proven it works, and I've done it, and I've made money on it myself. So I'm excited for that reason. I'm excited about people getting the experience of actually learning how to do something that not very many people are doing, and not just learning it, but actually doing it. So John Maxwell, many of you guys know John Maxwell. John Maxwell said, the biggest distance in the world is the distance between knowing and doing. Let that sink in a little bit. The biggest distance in the world is the distance between knowing and doing. So some of you know a lot of stuff. You've watched so much YouTube content. You've learned so many things. You've been to the events. You've gone to the stuff, okay? And you know a lot, but the actual doing of the thing, and in the sense of making a deal happen, that doing part gets lost, not because you're a bad person, not because you are lazy, not because you're not actually interested, but because here's the way life happens. You learn something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to go do that. And then what do? You know, the baby cries, you know, the boss calls, the tire goes flat, you know, whatever, the stove, you know, breaks, you got to get a new water heater, whatever, right? Life happens, and life is what keeps us from doing. And so the more guys, I have so many courses, so many mentorships that I'm a part of. I know Peggy can relate to this. Yeah, Peggy says sidetracked. That's exactly right. We get sidetracked because we're human beings, and it's something about the kind of people that we are, kind of entrepreneurial people, is it doesn't take much to get us chasing something new, right? We kind of have that a lot of us, I don't want to speak for you personally, but a lot of us have the tendency to go, you know, shiny object syndrome. And so when it comes to the doing part, the main thing that I have learned personally, the place that I excel in doing is whenever I'm doing it with someone else in real time. Like right now, we're doing this call live, right? There's somehow or another, there's usually more value that you get out of being here on this call live, right? Being able to interact. Yep, Monica says, I know drinking water is healthy and needed, but doing it, exactly right. So, you know, my kids got this for me for Father's Day. I have been drinking at least one of these every single day since Father's Day, and it's been really, really good. I knew I needed to drink water, but doing it, sometimes someone giving you their tool and the resource, and then knowing that, hey, this was a gift, you know, I need to do this. Sometimes that really helps, right? But it's amazing how doing it with someone else. And so we're going to be doing these calls in the month of September, the micro mentorship. We're going to be uncovering this one little niche, right? And not to say that it's not important. It's just one little aspect. There's so many things, guys. You know that, right? There's so many things that you can do in real estate. It's unbelievable all the different things you can do in real estate. And I personally don't hyper focus in this particular area that I'm going to be teaching. And I'll tell you, it's kind of funny. The reason why I don't is because there's not a lot of people involvement. And weirdly enough, I am interested in the people aspect of real estate solutions, problem solving, as much as I am, and maybe even more so than the money making part of it. And someone could say, yeah. But I'm serious. Like because this particular aspect I'm going to be going through is not super like people interactive, you know, it's more like send this email, do this thing, get this list. And it's very, very, you could do it all from your desk. Every single thing we're doing is that you can do from a laptop. I would say a laptop would be better than a phone, because there's going to be some lists that you have to get, and it's kind of like hard to, you know, on your screen, like trying to zoom in and stuff. So, but this particular list is not super big for me, but it made me money, and it made me good money, and it's made me money. I'm like I said, just showing this other guy this last week, I was like, hey, this is actually super valuable information. This could help somebody. And so I'm excited for some of you to be able to learn the thing, do the thing in real time. And the reason I'm especially excited about that is because of the fact that I started out the year 2025. I was like, I want to see people actually get deals done. So one of the first things we did, if you guys remember, the proximity event. That proximity event, a 2-day intensive workshop. We were there, we did stuff, we learned stuff. And Caitlin Beals, if you guys were part of the proximity, you remember Caitlin Beals actually went out and she got like 3 deals under contract the first week out of the proximity event. Right out the gate, she had deals locked up. Caitlin ended up closing on one of those deals. You guys have been watching Caitlin or following her. Caitlin Beals, she just finished her Small Nasty project. Anybody see that? Caitlin Beals, let's give her a whoop whoop. Okay. She just finished her Small Nasty project. We featured her on our flipping field trip in May. Caitlin finished that project, got it on market, sold it, and flipped it. And here's the deal: made all of her money back and made a profit. So that is awesome. That's right, Peggy. Peggy says, "You go, girl." Caitlin, if you're watching this, we love you. We're proud of you. So glad that you actually followed through and did the thing. So Caitlin Beals is now officially a real estate investor. She's actually done a deal from start to finish. She's working on other stuff too, but that's a huge, huge thing, right? Imagine the level of pride and accomplishment and knowing that she not just was interested in this, but she engaged, she took action, she took massive action, and she did the thing, right? Okay. Now imagine how, this is the part that maybe you don't tell Caitlin. Imagine how ticked off she might be if she finds out that the first deal that I did doing this thing that I'm going to be showing in September, I don't know what she made on that Small Nasty flip, but she hasn't disclosed that yet, and it's no shame at all, by the way, and it's also none of our business. Like she doesn't have to tell anybody, but I don't think it made as much money as she hoped it would. And oh, by the way, she started that in February. It's now August. So do the math on that, right? It took her 6-7 months to get it done and make a profit. Guys, these little deals that I'm going to show you guys, these things can be done and closed in a week, in 2 weeks. I mean, they can happen so fast. Okay. And I made $38,609 on one of these deals. And I don't really want to brag because it's really nothing to it as far as me, but like I can't believe how easy it was. Like I said, there was no renters to deal with, there was no rats, and there was no remodeling. And it was a huge, huge return. I looked at what I put into it versus what I made. The percentage return on it was like 7,900% return. It's just crazy. Okay. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. Okay. I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be teaching the deal specifics. And I'm excited about doing this because I said at the beginning of the year, I want to help as many people as possible in my group, right? I can't help everybody in the world, but I can help people in my group, in my network, get into a deal. So we did the proximity event. I've got this other group, the Legacy Leads group, that we're training in a specific niche and kind of showing how to build out an actual referral-based business. And then I'm going to be doing this micro mentorship. We've done the flipping field trip. Guys, I've done everything I can this year to make it possible for you guys to get in. And this one that we're going to be doing in September is probably by far the easiest. We should have started with this one, okay? By far the easiest way to do it. So if you're interested in that, you got to let me know because I am going to cap that, however many people we have in it. I've got a little ad that I'm going to be running just to kind of cultivate some interest. I'm doing some testing in the market to see what happens when I run an ad. And I have a feeling I'm going to run that ad. It's going to be people outside of my network. And I think we're going to probably fill that up pretty quickly. Because, by the way, this is something you can do in any market. It works anywhere. You can do it from anywhere, and it works in any market. So you can literally do it remotely for, Marion County, Salem, area if you're in Vancouver, Washington. You could do it remotely for Okaloosa County from Portland if you want to pick up, these types of leads in Florida, right? You pick your market. It doesn't really matter because the deals are great, but you have to be there. You have to actually do the work with me. Okay. So that's going to be my one caveat is you have to do the work with me. Even if you have the money and you're like, hey, I'm ready to go, I want to do it. You've got to be able to commit to doing the work with me because that's going to be the whole value is we're going to do it together. And by doing it together, you have a much, much higher likelihood of succeeding because you're actually going to be learning and doing it at the same time. So anyway, that's to answer the questions. Hopefully that answers the questions. If you guys have other questions, you obviously know how to get a hold of me. But so that's what I want to talk about today. So we covered, some things about the interest rates and some news in that space, and it'll be interesting to watch and see what happens. That kind of stuff is really out of our control, frankly. It's not something that a lot of us have much say so in the matter. right? Setting policy when it comes to fiscal, things and financial policy. I know our vote counts and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, right? The powers that be are going to do what the powers that be do. They're going to move the populace in a certain direction. They're going to steer things, and it's usually going to be to their advantage, and it's usually done in a way that looks really good to the public so that they can keep getting elected. Sorry, I got something in my eye. So we covered that. Can't do a lot about that. What you can do is you can keep coming out to these events. We have the PDX REI group meetup August 21st, 6 p.m. Make sure you sign up, and it's going to be, the event page is going to be posted in the PDX REI group pretty soon. I'm going to be having Devon Alexander come and his ATG group. They're going to be coming out, Asset Fusion Group, ASF, AFG. There we go. I got too many acronyms bouncing around my head. So they're going to be coming out on Thursday, August 21st, and at that event, there's going to be a VIP pass giveaway to the person that's the most active and promoting this event the most. And then here's the thing: September 5th is Pace Morby coming into town. A big, a lot of stuff going on with that whole event. In September, I'm going to be starting my micro mentorship, and this is something that you can do from home. It's going to be done live with you. We're going to be doing it together. It's a unique niche. I think you're going to like it. If you guys are interested, let me know. And I don't see any other questions today. Let me look over here. Andy says this: for most, it's the fear of the unknown, whether success or failure. Very, very true. Success or failure, both can be a fearful thing. That is so true. Yep. Monica says knowing versus doing. That's absolutely correct. The John Maxwell says the biggest distance in the world is the distance between knowing something and doing it. Sheck says I'm been really good at wheel spinning. So spinning our wheels, right, Sheck? Well, if you are interested in this thing, brother, I think that this is something that's I've got a price where it's affordable for anybody. But if you are interested in doing this with us, then let me know, because this will definitely get you to grab a hold of some real solids and get you moving again, because wheel spinning is no fun. I know that very, very well. Okay, I don't see any other posts or comments in here, so guys, I'm going to sign off. I will post the link to the video that I've talked about. In fact, I might as well just do that right now. Let me see if I can just do that before I jump off here, because that way it's just done. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. This is your last chance to ask some questions. If you have any questions, now's a good time to ask. Let's see here. I hope I didn't lose you just now by closing that down. Probably did. Okay, what do we got here? I'm just waiting for this to come up. Where's my list? I'm finding that link. And here we go. And where'd it go? Okay. Here we go. There's that. That's the one I wanted. Yeah. Stop. Here, is that it? Yeah, get back over here to you guys. Okay, did I lose you? You still there? Everybody still there? Okay, posting this here now. Here is the link. Go watch that video. I'll tell you all about it. And if you guys need to, you can just shoot me a text or a DM, and I'll get that over to you as well. Okay, guys, I think that's it. God bless. Got another call coming up in 5 minutes, and looking forward to seeing you all soon, hopefully at the PDX REI group meetup next week, Thursday, October 21st, 6 p.m. Most of you know the place and the time and all that stuff, but if you don't, just keep an eye out for the event. Is going to be posted in the PDX REI group. Monica says, where's the link? I'm posting it again here, Monica. I thought I did. Maybe it didn't come through yet, but there's the link right there. And then you guys can DM me, and I'll send it to you specifically too. All right, Peggy, Monica. Let's see here. Sherry, adios. That's right. Andy, all of you all, let's keep on keeping on. Sheck, way to go, brother. Thanks for being here today. Good to hear from you. We will talk to you guys soon. God bless, and see you as soon as we see you. Bye-bye.